Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to session 2 of our webinar series, Pace Yourself. It's a marathon, not a sprint, going the distance for outsourced accounting success. If you happen to miss the first section of our webinar series, your training plan, you can view that recording and download the slide deck on the CRI website at cricpa.com under the Resources tab. With you today, we have presenting Laura Ranger and Jonathan Rogers. My name is Sherry Swain. I'm going to be facilitating the webinar today. I'm a partner in our Orlando office. I'm a graduate from the University of Central Florida. I have just some fun facts. A pet boxer named Sadie. Hobbies include golf and running, although in Florida right now, we're not doing much of that. It's still pretty hot down here. And then I really love to travel. That's something our family tries to do whenever possible. Last year when we were locked in for COVID, we took an RV 7,000 miles across the country. Laura Ranger is a partner in our Melbourne, Florida office. She's a graduate from Lemoyne College in Syracuse, New York, where she's originally from. She's a Boston Red Sox fan. Her hobbies include antiquing and collectibles. And another fun fact is her whole family earned a black belt or higher in karate. Jonathan Rogers graduated from Kennesaw State University and also from the University of Georgia. He's got a German Shepherd Terrier mix named Daisy. Hobbies include swimming and grilling. And another fun fact, one of his favorite comfort foods is a Mississippi pot roast, which I had to ask what that was. And he said it's essentially a pot roast with a ranch packet on it and some gravy and pepperoncinis and a slow cooker, and sounds fantastic. So I'm looking forward to some fall weather so I can try one of these. Just some housekeeping items. This course is going to be worth 1 hour of CPE credit. You must be signed in individually to get that credit. You've got to be on the webinar for at least 50 minutes, so stay on for the whole thing. You've also got to answer 80% of the polling questions. You don't have to get them right, but you do have to get answers in there to show your participation. Just note each state board of accountancy has different guidelines for accepted courses. So this may or may not be accepted by your individual state. CPE certificates will be distributed via email 7 days after the webinar. Look out for an email from certificates@simplecert.net. And then if you have any questions or issues, you can contact our marketing department at marketing@cricpa.com to get information there. And just one other thing, on your Zoom settings here, there is a place that you can enter questions. If you have questions throughout the webinar, we'd be happy to address those. And with that, Jonathan, I'm going to kick it over to you to go through the agenda and get things started.
Thanks, Sherry, and thank you everyone who is in attendance. We've got a great webinar for you today, and here's how we're going to approach today. Our goals today are to help you see some ways to increase the efficiency of your accounting processes, to educate you on some beneficial internal control changes you can consider, share some ways CRI can help you streamline your bookkeeping through Xero functionality or through third-party app integration. Fourth, we want to provide a plan for more timely financial information. And lastly, we want to provide examples of better ways to use that management information. Let's begin. I'm going to start us on increasing accounting process efficiency. And in increasing accounting process efficiency, we have 4 major cycles we want to consider today. We want to go over the AR billing and sales cycle. We want to go over the AP cycle, the payroll cycle, and the inventory management cycle. The first area we are going to cover is the AR cycle. But before we do that, I want to talk about our real-time collaborative process. At CRI, our ultimate goal is to help our clients understand and adopt a real-time collaborative accounting model. We've created standard firm accounting outsource processes that enable us to provide clients with a modern CAS service solution to help them with their needs as the organization grows and wants to become more effective. Sherry, if you would you move it to the real-time collaborative slide? I think it's one, there we go. As you can see on this slide, the core of our package is to use Xero's general ledger system as the platform. And then we want to tie in data gathering tools, which will provide us with timely, relevant data. In the diagram on the left side, you'll see things for the client to do. On the right side, you'll see things Carr, and Ingram can do for you. Sometimes CRI will do the things on the left, and then alternatively, some things CRI, the client can do things on the right. Altogether, we have a collaborative system built on Xero that's going to allow for you to have an efficient and effective process. And in our first area, I want to talk about AR, sales, and ultimate collections. In this webinar, we intend to hone in on the importance of being able to amend process after you first enter Xero. So maybe you've been in Xero for 6 months or a year, and you're not using the Xero AR module. Well, now is a chance for us to start looking at, would it make sense to switch into the module? So here I'm going to talk about several ways that the AR module can make your process more efficient. The first way is in entering invoices. You can enter invoices from your smartphone, a tablet, or your computer. There's actually mobile app functionality, and there's pay now customization. So you can enter the invoice in any of these tools. You can send it to the customer instantaneously, and then they have a link once they receive that email that they can pay immediately if you use certain third-party apps. Additionally, after you send them the email with the invoice, and if the time period goes by, say 15 days, 30 days, and they haven't paid you, you can set up custom default settings in your Xero where you can actually have the system send emails to follow up with a client. So this will save you time in following up. It'll save you manpower, and this is a really efficient feature. Additionally, there are add-ins with Gmail and Office 365 where you can integrate those tools so your notes can show up in Xero, and you can really have best-in-class information on where you are with specific customers. When you combine all of these things, I feel like the Xero AR module really sets you in a place to be efficient. It allows you to be paperless. It allows you to streamline that process, and we really like it. If there's a way we can help, if you like this, there's a way we can help, we'd love to discuss it further. And this now brings us to our first polling question.
Thanks, Jonathan. In what ways can Xero invoicing streamline the AR cycle? A, invoices can be sent to customers immediately via email. B, invoices can link to e-payment solutions. C, reminder emails can be set up automatically to send to customers at specific dates. Or D, all of the above. And just a reminder, to get that CPE credit, you need to answer 80% of the poll questions. We're about 87% answered. I'll give it just a few seconds. While correct answers are great, you don't have to have a correct answer to get your CPE credit. I'm gonna go ahead and close the poll. Share the results. 97% of you said all of the above, which is correct.
Now that we've covered AR and the billing and sales cycle, Laura is going to take over and cover accounts payable.
Hi, everybody. This is Laura Ranger. If you're on this webinar, thank you. We want to, the whole goal of the webinar is to show you how you can get real-time financials and all of the processes to make it quick, easy, and efficient. So I'm going to concentrate on a couple things. This first one is the accounts payable, credit cards, job costing, and tracking. There is an app called HubDoc, which is actually owned by Xero, which is a document management paperless system. I know everybody's been in the office with paper. I want to say this says paperless, but paperless is one of the best things you can do. This system allows you to have your vendors send an invoice directly to your specific HubDoc address. HubDoc will AI read the document and give you a possibility of posting. In other words, it'll tell you, how about posting it like this? And that's done through teaching HubDoc how you want things posted. Maybe it'll pull from the last bill sent, or maybe you tell it always from this vendor, code it here. That allows you to just click the yes button, and HubDoc will sync it directly with Xero and will post the transaction. Not only will it do that, it'll take that document and attach it to the transaction in Xero. So HubDoc is a document management system for all of your documents. Approving bills for payment. There are a lot of different things in Xero and RelayFi and Bill.com, which will allow you to have internal controls for approvals of payment. So for example, HubDoc can send it to Xero in a draft form, and then there's a place in Xero where someone can log in and approve the bill, and it cannot be sent for processing before it's approved. This is a really good internal control, and I invite you to look at this, or we can help you show you how to set it up. Online bill payments are also available. Forget those one-write systems, handwriting checks, buying checks, mailing, printing. These systems will allow you to actually cut checks if you wish without a physical check or a physical signature, to ACH and wire. So this is secure. What the bill pay systems do is invite your vendors into the system. They, on the other hand, will enter in their secure accounting information, bank account information, so they can say, yes, go ahead and pay me via ACH, or no, I don't want to do that, please send check. And these are just a lot of different ways to make things more efficient for you internally. Now we're going to talk about expenses, debit and credit cards. We have on your smartphone, on your tablet, you can take a picture of credit cards, enter in a few bits of information about what it is, who went there, for example, for a meal, what was discussed, and what account to post it to, and send it directly to Xero for posting. It will also take that transaction picture and attach it to the transaction. You have, by just taking a picture and sending it to Xero, posted your transaction. It also does recurring transactions, which is really good. If you have, let's say, a transaction that comes in through your debit card for Adobe every single month for $12, you can create recurring transactions that will automatically post. Now, if you have a system that you want all these recurring transactions to be reviewed first for internal control purposes, you can post it to draft as well. Job costing. This may not be important for all of you, but it's really important for some of you. The time tracking is available on a mobile app, so your employees can put in their time and it will sync to the job costing system, which will bring the hours in to Xero. It will also, with one click, if you're doing invoices by job and by time, you can one click create the invoice. This is really important. When all of the information is brought in quickly every day from time cards, you can view your job profitability at a glance with a push of a button. So it's really, really important for real-time financials. Tracking is also really important. Now, this is really specific to each and every customer because you want to view different things for different reasons. You can use multiple dimensions. You can take divisions in sales or divisions in revenue stream or region or whatever you want to call them. you can create your own dimensions specific to your company, thereby allowing you to look at your financial statements for management reasons by different areas. And now we have a polling question. Sherry?
Thanks, Laura. An efficient bill process includes which of the following? Automated coding and integration with the accounting software, using a bill pay app for debit and credit cards, attaching bills automatically to the transactions, or D, all of the above. Answers are coming in pretty quickly here. Just as a reminder, if anybody has any questions, they're welcome to pop them in the Q&A box on your Zoom toolbar there. Looks like answers have slowed down. I'll give it just a few seconds so we can get any final ones in there. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and share the results. And 99% said D, all of the above, which is correct.
I'm going to continue on with the payroll cycle. Integration is key to posting and being efficient. Xero has 15 different integrations for payroll, one of which we recommend is PayWorks. However, if you're currently using something like ADP or Paychex, they also have integrations. So there is a lot of different ways to make sure that what you put into ADP in one system, you don't have to turn around and then re-record in your accounting system. Mapping through integration allows you to post those transactions immediately. As soon as your payroll cycle has been approved and in for processing, everything, including job costing, if you needed, can flow over to your accounting system automatically. It is wonderful. Payroll processing also has audit trails. These are really important, especially for government accounting and a lot of nonprofits where you want somebody to be able to go in there and review prior to processing to make sure that everything looks okay at a higher level. You can pick and choose who you want to authorize. It allows for expense reimbursements. Again, you can take a picture and upload the document, and then it'll go right through the payroll processing. Having a payroll company do your payroll cycle is really important. It's going to keep you in compliance with payroll taxes. Really, really important. And recording payroll does that time tracking in the AI integration. So this is the most efficient full circle process. Very, very important to making sure you have consistent real-time financials. One more quick polling question, Sherry.
Get that one launched. Time tracking is useful when A, it is not useful for any small business, B, for job costing, C, for analysis of non-billable time, D, for recording payroll by revenue stream, E is B, C, and D, and F is B and D. Votes are rolling in. Give it just a few more seconds. We're at about 60%. We've seemed to hit about that 90%. Just a reminder, as well as answering the poll questions to get that CPE credit, you need to be logged on for the 50 minutes. And CPE certificates will be emailed out about 7 business days after the webinar. We're about 85% voted. So if you want to get that last minute vote in, go ahead, and I'm going to end the poll. Share the results. The correct answer here was E, B, C, and D.
I want to chime in real quick here. I didn't go over C, but what I will tell you is if everything is posted through payroll and you're doing job costing and you have time posted to marketing and development and administration, you will in fact be able to see variance analysis on how much time is posted to a non-job cost or non-billable time. Hope that helps.
Laura, I believe Jonathan's going to take over here with increasing accounting process efficiency.
For just a few minutes, I'm going to switch gears and focus on inventory management. For those of you that inventory is part of your business, maybe you've always tracked inventory outside of your accounting package, or maybe you just kind of know where you are based on a feel. Well, now's the time you can think about beginning to run your inventory through Xero in real time. Xero allows you to add your products and track your purchases and sales of those products. You can create purchase orders and email them to your vendors through the system with those specific products attached. You can create estimates for your customers and email those to your customers with those specific products attached. Then you can create invoices to those customers once they've approved that estimate. By doing all this within Xero, you unlock the reporting of Xero for inventory, which can show you what's selling, what's not, and then you can use that data to buy more of what you're selling well and less of what you're not selling. In summary, in this first section, we've covered the ARN sales cycle, the AP cycle, the payroll cycle, and the inventory management cycle. If any of these areas struck a chord with you, we'd be glad to discuss and consult further on ways to improve your process in your business. Now let's cover some internal control benefits you could consider in our outsourced accounting model that can really benefit your business. Laura's going to take back over here.
Internal controls are extremely important to any business. It doesn't matter if you are small or large. And honestly, especially if you're small, there are certain internal controls that are really very beneficial. The best internal control systems separate three things: authorization, record keeping, and treasury, which is bank access and transferring money. We're going to talk about bills a little bit. We did talk about a little bit of internal controls earlier. I'm just going to key in on a few points. We talked about the draft versus the actual post of bills. The draft allows someone who is not entering the transaction to review the transaction to make sure the bill is, for example, of approved vendors or not over a certain threshold. So you may have two different approvers, one who can approve everything, let's say up to $1,000, and you may need a second approver of anything over $1,000. You can choose your different parameters for what you want to do. Bill pay is another area where internal control is very important. You and many not-for-profits do, they have a policy which states that a bill has to be signed by one person or two people if, let's say, it's over 5,000 or 10,000, whatever your parameters. They have systems in place where you can set those internal controls up in the system so you can utilize those. Invoices, again, as Jonathan went over, can be set in for draft for approval as well, just like bills can. The payroll prior to processing, real important internal control. If you give somebody the authority to change pay rates or to add in bonuses, it's really good for someone who is outside the input to go in and take a last look at it. You never know when there's that key punch error and somebody put in not a $1 raise, but a $10 raise just by a key put error. So it's an overall large look at what goes out the door beforehand. And it may be something simple like, let me see the cash projection out. And you know, as an owner, that it should be a certain amount roughly every time. If it's a large amount higher, you may say, oh yeah, we gave bonuses this month. Or if it's way lower, maybe something forgot to get processed. So it's a great internal control. Journal entries. Journal entries are usually transactions that are non-recurring and there are corrections of something that was done in the past. So it's really important for journal entries to be reviewed. They, again, can be put in for draft and then review. So there's a place for somebody to enter it as draft, and there's a place, an audit trail even comes up of telling you not only when it was reviewed, it's timestamped, and who reviewed it. And in this system, believe it or not, you cannot delete something. You can delete it, but there's an audit trail of who deleted it and when. And you can always go back and look at the entry that was deleted. Financial statement variance analysis. This doesn't sound like an internal control, but it's another very, very good high-level internal control that allows generally the owners or management to look at variances within the financial statement at a high level to see if there's something that doesn't, the variances don't jive with what their expectations are. So it's a great way and great internal control to pick out some errors. You can restrict who is in the system. This goes for a lot of the apps as well. They have these restrictions. So if you don't want your AP clerk to be able to bring up your financial statements, then there is a way to limit their access in the systems so they can only see the areas which you would allow as management for them to see. Cash reconciliations, I love this one. They are done daily. So there's never a wait to the end of the month to see if there's something wrong with our cash. And you need this for cash flow analysis. So the way the system works is that the bank transactions come in and they are reconciled daily. That is a really good way, a really good internal control to make sure people are doing their job and you're not behind on your financials. The other real key one, and most people don't think about this, but you can put in credit into the system to write and apply it to an invoice to write off a bill. Now, this is a real good way to say, well, you don't have to pay and I'm just going to write you off, but that should be done by management. The data entry part of that can be done by an accounting person, but it can also go in for draft and then somebody else can review it before posting it. There are many, many more examples of internal controls and ways to use them. We'd be happy to help you go through your internal controls that you do have and tell you, and we can let you know what we think can enhance your current internal control system. Back to Sherry.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. And we're gonna go ahead and launch poll question 4 here. An example of an internal control procedure is segregation of duties, double signatures on checks over $5,000, review of the bank reconciliation, or all of the above. And while this is going, Jonathan, I think that was a good question that just came up in the Q&A. Do you want to go ahead and tell everybody what that was on inventory and give the answer?
Absolutely. Thank you, Sherry. And thank you, Paul, for the question. You can track up to 4,000 items in the Zero module. So you have quite a bit of runway within the Zero module for a small business. And if you get outside of that or close to that, then we'll start consulting on other solutions. And one of the sections we'll cover in this next area is about streamlining your business with third-party integration. So I'll touch on that in that section. It's a great question.
Thanks. And I'm going to go ahead and close this poll and share the results. And 99% said D, all of the above, which is correct.
All right. One of the many reasons why we chose Zero as our partner was their open source cloud-based solution to accounting software. With Zero, we have found many ways to streamline your bookkeeping within Zero functionality and with third-party app integrations. We really like that Zero left it open for the things that they didn't design into their software, not because their software is not great. Their software has a lot of great features, but for things that reach new levels that need further intricate care. So to start with, I'm going to cover the things within the Xero platform that really help streamline your bookkeeping. The first area for this is bank feeds and bank rules. To me, this is one of the greatest areas for time saving within data entry that Xero offers. Essentially, Xero teams up with many banks and has the ability to have the banks feed the actual transactions into your accounting software. The banks can share transaction date, description, reference, who paid or who were you paying, and the amount. Once connected, this helps reduce your data entry, and you're now in a position where the only thing you have to do with those transactions is code them. If you couple this feature with bank rules, we can solve that second dilemma. Bank rules can be set up for cash receipts, cash disbursements, and transfers. Let's play this through as an example. Let's say you paid Quick Trip for gas on September 15th with your debit card. And the next day, after we've connected Xero, the next day that transaction feeds into Xero and it shows up. On the screen, which you see it, you can choose to code that transaction, or if you know this is going to be a repeating sort of transaction, you can set a bank rule up that's, let's say it's your gas rule, and you can say, anytime I see the payee on this bank account is Quick Trip, code this to auto expense or whatever your specific expense code count is. And then you can add other gas stations or other specific vendors that fit that transaction. And all of a sudden the system can capture those for you. Instead of you having to physically key in the coding every time, the system predicts it. All you have to do is hit OK. And that's, to me, one of the real values of this system. The next area is cache coding. Cache coding, so there's two ways to reconcile transactions. You can reconcile transaction by transaction, or you can reconcile with the cache coding screen, which we can unlock for you as a CRI customer. And what happens is you see all of your unreconciled transaction in tabular format, and it shows the dates of the transaction, who the payee is, the other information the bank feeds through, and whether it's cash receipt or a cash disbursement. And you can sort that screen. And this is powerful because you can sort by like transactions and then decide, well, what transactions need a bank rule? And if they need a bank rule, you can set a bank rule. And then if you go back to that screen, what you'll also see that it's already suggesting where to code things to. Instead of clicking OK every time, you can click Save All at the bottom, and those transactions with the rules will go away. This is, to me, so we look at these first three. These are three really powerful tools in Xero that you can use together. When I think cache coding, I think for my cash basis taxpayers, I think it's a wonderful use. For my credit cards, I think it's a wonderful use. It really speeds up getting these transactions in. So now that we've got all the transactions in, let's talk about find and recode. We're all human and we all make mistakes. And so we could potentially code something the wrong place. Let's take, for example, if you bought an HVAC unit in the year and you coded it to repairs and maintenance. Well, we can, with find and recode, we can easily search specific accounts or specific date periods, and we can find where something's miscoded, and we can transfer multiple things back and forth. So let's say you bought the HVAC unit and you bought a car, and for whatever reason you miscoded those into your P&L and they should have been capitalized. Well, we can move both of those transactions at once. I mean, the power is endless of the things that we can recode for you. So this find and recode is a real game changer too. It speeds up our work in terms of helping to clean up books. The last four areas here that I have in streamlining through Xero, the next one is repeating journals. So we know most businesses will have a repeating journal for depreciation and amortization. If you have debt, you may need to make a journal entry to replat, adjust your interest or long-term portion of debt. So there's many things that we know happen every month. Xero has functionality to let us set repeating journals. So the only thing that changes each month are the numbers that go into those entries. by using this, it speeds up less data entry, but it also gives less chance that we make an error. So that's a nice function. On the start with zero, there may be a catch-up period, and all of the import functions are incredibly helpful in making that catch-up period take very little time. You can import invoices, you can import bills, you can import journal entries. Pretty much any section that there could be something, you can import things with a click, use a template and import the transactions. It's much quicker than putting in each transaction at a time. Xero has nice help videos, and we can certainly help that show you how to download the right template, where to put things. And it's a very effective way to catch things up in a hurry as well. The last two items we've already covered a little bit. So the emailing capability within the software is very nice. It saves you time and efforts by being able to just do it straight from the accounting package. And then lastly, the multidimensional analysis of the software really gives you an opportunity to track how you're doing. Is it by salesman? Is it by, if you have multiple manufacturing locations, do you want to track by location? You know your business, and this will give you the opportunity to really improve your situation. So that's the things I wanted to cover related to our Xero functionalities. Now we're going to have a poll question.
Thanks, Jonathan. How does Xero streamline bank ledger activity input? Direct bank feeds with many banks and credit card companies? Bank rules that automate coding? Cash coding? Or D, all of the above? Answers are coming in pretty fast here. I'll give it just a few more seconds to get your answer in. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, share the results. And 99% were correct. D, all of the above.
Now that we've covered direct Xero functionality, let's cover third-party app integration. One of the reasons we chose Xero as our partner was that it had built in that they had a way for other apps to help if there were any need. And when we started, there was about 800 apps. Now there's over 1,000 apps that Xero can tie in to your accounting package. So one that we highlighted already is HubDoc. It's a great document management software, and it does AI integration and helps with audit trails. Another would be if you need a bill pay integration. One of the ones we use is RelayFi, and this effectively turns your bill pay functionality into a paperless situation. You no longer have to cut checks internally, and it communicates directly with Xero. And so you pay, you input your bills in Xero, your bills funnel into Relay, you pay your bills, the bank feeds back those paid bills to Xero, and you can reconcile your transactions. This is a great way to pay your bills and stop cutting checks. The next functionality is payroll. As Laura mentioned, there's 15 integrations. If you use Paychex or ADP, or if you use Payworks, you can integrate transactions, and that's a great way to save time and reduce a monthly journal entry. Shopify, many of our customers are in the e-commerce sector, and they use Shopify, or they do business with Walmart or eBay. And Shopify, or an app called A2X, can connect all these transactions to Xero. You can do your business in Shopify as you've been doing, and all of a sudden the transactions can feed over into Xero. It's a really incredible and fantastic feed. And then to kind of couple that is, if you're in retail and you are subject to sales tax, or any business that's subject to sales tax, Avalara and TaxJar are fantastic add-on apps that really handle that compliance for you. Xero communicates with their apps. They analyze how much sales tax should be paid. They'll file it for you and streamline, and they'll connect and talk back and forth. Now, earlier, Paul asked a question about inventory, and Xero's inventory module works fantastic. But if, let's say, you have multiple locations, or you have more than 4,000 SKUs, if you get outside of what it's built to do, there are many apps, one of which is your inventory, that you can basically handle your inventory there, handle billing, and it will feed the information into Zero. So if, let's say you're a manufacturer and you need a solution that handles work in process, that handles the manufacturing component, well, there's a tie-in for that. So that's fantastic. The next area that I find to be nice is the pay now option. Earlier in the presentation, I mentioned that on your invoice, you can have a link, and on that link can go to a pay now, and we can turn your AR a lot quicker, and you can use apps like Stripe to do that. So that's nice. And the last thing I want to cover here is consolidation. Many of our clients have an operating entity, and then they have 3, 4, 5, 10 other entities. And within this typical software, you can only see the one entity. Well, there's an app to fix this if you want to see your combined balance sheet, your combined income statement. And SIFT Analytics is one of the groups we've looked at and does a great job. You can combine data from Zero. Actually, if you, for some reason, you're keeping one of them out of an Excel spreadsheet, you can still consolidate them all together through SIFT. And so it gives you a fantastic financial picture of your whole picture, not just the one entity. So if you have that situation, that would be a great app. So these are the ways we can, those were many of the apps we wanted to highlight, but there's many more. Where we're at now is the Zero App Marketplace. This is where you can see those 1,000 plus apps. On the left side of this screen, you can sort by function or you can sort by industry. Toward the top, there's a search bar. You can type in a key intuitive word and hit enter, and then it'll show the apps that fit that what you're looking for. If you want to know more about each of these apps, you can see there's actual customers who've reviewed these apps and given up to 5 stars on the rating. So it's a great way to see what others are doing and what others are thinking of within the app. So I highly recommend this. And you don't have to be a Zero user. You have to go look. Just go see it says apps.zero.com. You can go look at it there. And it'll give you a lot of great information about the power that's unlocked through third-party integrations. Now we're going to get into talking about timely financial information, and I'm going to give control to Laura.
I'm back. I hope you can see that from everything that Jonathan and I had said so far, the whole goal of this whole thing is for us to figure out for you what can make you more efficient, to get the bookkeeping out of it. Let's do some real analysis of your accounts. Make everything automatic and consistent. So the end goal is timely financial information. Now, this is real-time collaboration. So the owners of the business have access to all the information that they need, correct information, I might add, so they can make decisions on the fly. By utilizing the bank feeds for credit cards and debit cards, downloading and imports, bulk codes, you can be efficient and consistent. Importing bills into Zero with HubDoc, oh my goodness, this is very consistent. And if you log into HubDoc every day and just move over all those transactions, they're automatically posted. So it's a real great way to have things come in. Things come in automatically. That's our whole goal here. Let's have automated processes, and automated reading and AI, so you can make those decisions when you need to. The bill pays with bill payment, secure, audit trails, paperless. I can't express, this is probably my favorite piece, because I remember a long time ago cutting checks, getting somebody to sign them, finding them, having to wait the next day. The EFTs, your vendors will love you. This will get them their information and payment quicker as well. Reconciling on a daily and weekly basis, I even would cross off weekly. If you want to see your stuff daily, real-time financials are available. Repeating journal entries, excuse me. This also is really, really efficient. And as Jonathan said, you can be set up so all you have to do is put in numbers instead of having to type all this information, debits and credits, and making sure they're not backwards or forwards. Very efficient, very consistent. And the find and read code, wow, that really takes a lot of time away from data entry, which is really what we're trying to get away from. We would like you to see your financial information as soon as you need it. And you know what happens when you're done with that process? On January 1st, when you go into Xero and you reconcile those last few transactions that came in on the 31st of December, you are ready with your information to give to your tax preparer. Now, how great is that? Again, Sherry, poll question for you.
Yes. Last poll question of the day. Real-time financial statements are useful for the following situations. A, when the bank needs updated information to review loan covenants. B, when owners need to determine profitability of a segment of a business. C, cash is tight and bills need to be paid. Or D, A and B only. Oh, there's two more, I'm sorry. E, B, and C, or F, B, A, B, and C. Just going to give it a few more seconds. Please get your answers in so you can get that CPE credit. And I'm going to end the poll. Share the results. And 78% of you said A, B, and C, which is correct. Jonathan, I'm going to hand it back over to you for better use of management information.
Thanks, Sherry. And now we've entered the last major section of our presentation, and I want to thank everyone for being involved today and listening. This is really what it's all about here. We want to save you time on the data entry and give you time on being able to analyze your data. And if you use Xero with us, we have standard report codes that we've built in that are custom to our integration with Xero. And that unlocks a wealth of bookkeeping and preparation report analysis that we can provide to you. When you use these report codes, we map to our reports, and we can provide a 13 report packet to you within seconds with one click of a button. Those reports include comparative balance sheets and P&Ls, 13-month rolling balance sheets and P&Ls, statements of cash flows, statements of changes in equity, general ledger details, AR and AP aging details. And this is really powerful. So if we're using a real-time environment, what happens is second, third day of the month, we can run reports that are going to show you the last month versus the month before that with variances, year to date versus year to date prior year with variances, rolling 13-month. This is where I really like this rolling 13-month because it's going to you're going to see real quickly if you have an anomaly. If you've got a 300% increase in income, maybe something's wrong, or some sort of expense. It's going to pop out and stick out to us. It's going to show how consistent you are. It gives us a real true picture of what's going on, what's happened, and it gives us an ability to say, what can we do now to make things go better in the future? You've got our rolling, you couple that with what Xero offers. Xero has dashboards. Xero has a business snapshot. And within the functionality of Xero, there's a budget manager. So we can tack on, you can look at a dashboard if we're operating in a real-time environment. You can look at the dashboard and you make decisions quickly, or you can see where you need to go look at for your business. Or you can use the budget manager and look at things. So here's a copy of what a dashboard looks like in our demo company. So on the left side, we've got the bank account. You can see there's 29 transactions left to reconcile. So you open up your dashboard, say, okay, somebody's got to reconcile these transactions. Or on the upper right, you can tailor to the specific accounts you want to watch. You can see how this month is going versus year to date. You can see who owes you invoices and who might, we've got 5 overdue in this scenario. So those are 5 customers you can go talk to about what's going on and see about getting paid. It shows you, on the business snapshot here, notice the upper right says year to date. Well, that drop down will let you change to last month. It'll let you change to the last year. It'll let you customize to whatever period you want to look at. It'll show you how profitable were you, what was your gross margin, what were your income, what were your expenses. Again, what are your high dollar expenses and how do they compare? It then gives you a high level balance sheet, and it tells you how quickly are you getting paid and how quickly are you paying your suppliers. Maybe you're paying your suppliers too quick based on how your customers are paying you. Maybe to help cash flow, you need to look at how you're paying your suppliers. These tools allow you to make business decisions in real time, quicker than in past. I mean, this budget variance report comes directly from Xero. If we're working in a real-time environment, you real quickly see how when things are going well and better than budget with the green budget variances, or it's below budget, and then you can analyze why are we below budget. So again, lots of real powerful tools to use when we operate in this real-time collaborative environment. And it excites me to come to work knowing we have this tool and we can offer it to our clients and we can be of use to you. So thank you again for your time today. It's been a real pleasure presenting with you. And as we said, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And we really want to help you as you go through your marathon with your business. I hope today that you learned how to increase the efficiency of some of your major cycles. I hope you saw some possible internal control changes that might help your business. I hope we were able to point out some functionality you might not be thinking about that you can use within Xero or third-party app integrations. And lastly, most important, I hope we showed you a real way to get to your management information and be able to analyze what's going and spend your time there instead of data entry. And with that, I open it up if there's any questions, and I'm going to turn it back over to Sherry.
Thanks, Jonathan. Such great information on Xero and what we can do with it. We did have one question came in. If we don't need everything discussed, since we are a quite small business, do you recommend starting when getting set up with Xero? And is there training available?
I'm going to take that question if you don't mind. Yes, a lot of clients don't need everything. And in fact, you can see there's 1,000 apps. So we take a look at your system and we talk about what your goals are, what your vision is for your business. And then we never look backwards, we always look forward. So what do you need going forward? Because maybe you're on a growth mode and you know you're going to need this and this and this. So we try to design what you're going to need. And no, you don't start with anything. You can start with a basic Xero, and we can train on Xero. We have several throughout CRI. There's many experts on how to use, and there's a lot of help ideas and small, very short webinars that teach you certain aspects, for example, AR or AP or inventory. So you don't start with everything, you start with what you need, because every business is different. And we can help you with the setup as well, because setup is really important. If it's set up wrong, it's not going to work right. And that's where we have the expertise, and we'd love to help you out.
Thanks, Laura. And with that, I just want to invite all of our attendees this morning to join us for our 2021 year-end tax planning webinars coming up on November 9th. We have one for individuals and families at 10 a.m. Central Time, and one for businesses at 2 p.m. Central Time. All you have to do is take a picture of this little QR code right there, and the registration will link up. There's also a link in the chat box that you can click on to register for that. And Laura and Jonathan, thank you again so much. You guys did a fantastic job explaining all the benefits Xero can bring to our businesses. And if you're not already following CRI on social media, you can connect with us on the platforms listed below. We share tons of valuable content and inform our audiences of changing regulations, new services, webinar opportunities, and much more on our social media channels. So look for us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, even our It Figures podcast. So again, thank you so much to everybody who joined us today. We hope you enjoyed the webinar.